students, please wait for another 2 minutes.
Hello, sir. Sir, am I audible?
1 minute, please. The 1 minute.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
We lost. Come front. Yes.
Sir,
Dipankar.
in the assignment, we have to make a C program, or it
Have
is
to make a
just
C program. Yes, yes.
handwriting.
Yes,
So
yes.
handwriting or coding.
Coding, you do it.
Okay,
Maximum people will copy. What else? You make a directly coding and submit. Huh?
sir, and it is individually.
Individually you have to submit. After that,
Okay.
if I'll find a plagiarism is there, obviously deduct the marks immediately.
Okay, sir.
Fine.
Sir, can you please open the chat button? There is no chat option in this. I have a question option.
Yes, so we'll start. So I'll just tell you a few things. That is, in every class, next class onwards, I'll ask the questions. Offline student, be very careful. So the topic is introduction and CPU scheduling. I randomly ask. If that student is not present for the 2 consecutive classes, again mark will be deducted. Before that, I'll tell you 2 marks or 3 marks for every question. So accordingly, the 30 marks will be decided. Okay. So, and no more recording will be available from today onwards. Okay. Please don't ask me and don't request me also. That much. You have to come. You have to attend the class. If you attend without attending also get it, no problem, no issue at all. Okay. Thank you. For the online student, I'll arrange something how I can evaluate you. But offline student, be careful. Rule again, I'm repeating. Already the topic I have told you. So first the 2 classes or 3 classes, the introduction and CPU scheduling, first and second unit. Yes, I'll ask randomly anybody the question. If I'll not answer, immediately 0. Or I'll call here to explain something. If I'll not answer, 0. There only. If you're answering, there only I'll give the marks. If you are absent for continued 2 classes, because I call the roll number, again you are absent in the next 2 classes, automatically 0. There is no such issue. Okay. So hopefully last class you understood that how the banker's algorithm works and what is the purpose of the banker's algorithm. The basic, yes, please.
Sir, in the last class, the first question that you have done, I mean, that max allocation and need. Sir, go up, please. I have a doubt in that.
Max allocation and min, what is that?
0012 part. 0012 was the max for P0. This one,
Okay.
Sir, there is a question in need. Everything is same except the availability is 152. 1 minute, sir. You have to go up. And a different question, please.
This.
Yeah, this question.
1520. Yes.
Availability.
In
the question, the availability is a bit different. 152 and 2.
Yes. 152 and 2. If it is.
And sir, the question is number of step sequences possible. I am getting a different answer.
Obviously, the sequence will be vary. The sequence doesn't matter. The sequence.
No, sir. I mean, answer is 36, but I am getting 60. So
this 1522, if you'll get it.
Yes.
Okay. That I'll discuss at the end, if you don't mind. No problem. You are saying every data will be correct. Only you are giving 1522 here.
Yes.
If you are making it is 1522, what's wrong in this? This is more than this one. So if it is happening here, if you are saying this is correct for 1520, if I am taking it is 1522, I don't think so there will be any mismatch will coming into picture, because your availability is greater than the current availability. If you are assuming that this part is correct, if you are assuming that this part is incorrect, then your question may be a valid one. But if you are assuming this part is correct and you are saying I'll change from the availability from 1520 to 1522, I don't think so there is any issue.
Sir, no, I mean,
yes,
I'm not comparing with this, but there is a solution given in with the question. Their answer is 36 for that 1522, but I am using 1522, but I am getting 60.
Okay. Okay, if you can make it ready for sharing these things at the end, we all will discuss that question. You please make it ready last 5 minutes for sharing these things, your solution, so that we look into this question and solve it here.
Okay.
Fine. So last class we discussed about how you can do the avoidance for the multiple instances. Single instances you have studied with which algorithm? That is resource allocation algorithm. But if it is a not multiple instance resources, then you have to go for the banker's algorithm. Okay. So in the banker's algorithm, what are the 2 algorithms you follow? One is called as the safe state algorithm. Another one is what?
Resource.
It is the resource allocation.
We are giving
and this resource allocation algorithm uses the safe state algorithm at the very beginning as well at the end. Yes or no? So first it takes that initial state is safe or not. If initial state is safe, then you ready to receive a request. When you receiving the request, you do the validation test, like your request should be less than the need, as well as the request should be less than the availability. If it is, then you can make a temporary updation. Once you make the temporary updation, again you verify whether with this temporary updation you are in safe state or not. If you are in safe state, then you allocate the resources. Otherwise, you revert back to the original state. That's the idea. So today's class will start with the next one called as deadlock detection. So we have studied the deadlock prevention and avoidance. Today we'll finish the deadlock chapter and start the memory chapter. So the deadlock detection. Yes, this slides will be always available, but the recording is not available. The reason is that I found in the last class, in one class, I asked to 10 students, almost 5 to 7 students, what is a process? They could not able to speak. I astonish. Even if I'm not teaching you these things, you have appeared the mid-sem, and if you don't know what is process, means not you are reading. And if you are saying that with this you are a 9-pointer, you think about your situation. Means you take it very lightly. Process, simple process. What is a process? थोड़ा बता दो. What is the address space? क्या सोचे हो बता दो. No answer. Not a single student. Almost half of the class. I'm not saying what I'm teaching. I'm that guy. But still, as you have appeared the mid-sem, you should know at least क्या program है, क्या process है, उतना तो आपको आना चाहिए. Address space में एक code segment है, data segment है. These things at least you know. Otherwise, after 4 years, you just have a degree of a 9-pointer. एक क्वेश्चन पूछेंगे 9-pointer को, आप अगर आंसर नहीं पाएंगे, वो क्या सोचेगा? वो पूछे सोच रहे हो? The interviewer what he has to think? Either आप कॉपी करके पास किए हो या कॉलेज ने ज्यादा मार्क दे दिया है. What bad reputation you are giving to this person? Simple I ask. बोल दो what is process? Here also many people will be there in this section also. I'm not saying that they are only. Otherwise, I don't have an issue. If you not read, my time is wasting. Your time, you are now 70 students. 70 into 60 hours. 4,200 hours you are wasting. Whole total. That is the reason. Please concentrate. Next topic is memory management. कुछ भी समझ नहीं पाए, next वाला समझ नहीं पाओगे. ऐसा criteria है. And you are ready to ask me any doubt at any moment. If I'll not tell in one class, in next class, you are ready to give a complaint. That also I told. But पढ़िए. नहीं तो मेरा टाइम भी वेस्ट हो रहा है. आप देख के मुझे खराब लगा. You cannot imagine, I am literally crying. I told to 5 people in my cabin, मैं क्या पढ़ाया था कि प्रोसेस भी नहीं बोल पा रहे. Please do it. That's the reason I stop everything. And this is the strict rule I apply. If you do, get good marks. If you don't do, make it to C and D grade. Please. So, no problem. Deadlock detection. The deadlock detection basically says that already the system is running and you want to identify that whether the deadlock has detected or not. Then what are the requirements, or you can say what are the informations required for finding deadlock? Information required for finding deadlock. Required for finding deadlock. So the first one is allocation. Allocation means current allocation. The second one, we need the request. And third one is the availability. Yes, what are the things? One is the allocation of resources. Currently, what are the resources as allocated? What are the requests has made by each processes? And what is the current availability of this? Can anybody tell me what are the requirements or the information required for the deadlock avoidance? Quick answer. From here, what are the things are information is given to you for the deadlock avoidance? Turant, max.
Like non-preemption.
No, max. क्या information?
Allocation, availability.
एक allocation, एक availability. That's all or not? And after that, which person is making a request based on that whether you avoid or not. In the same manner, but the max is saying what? You have to know that which process need how many number of resources. But do you think that in a realistic it is possible? At the very beginning, can you say that my program needs 100 GB of RAM? You may not. Can you say that I need at a time 2 printers or 3 printers? Sometimes you can say. But in many times, how many resources you need at the very beginning, you may not say. But the deadlock detection, what is saying? At the current stage, whatever the stage you have, according to the stage, you have to identify whether you are in deadlock or not. And what are the things easily available? कितना allocate हुआ है, how many resources allocated, every process at least know, इतना memory, इतना printer allocate हुआ है. Second thing, what that process is made a which kind of resources for the request. Definitely a process needs some memory, process needs some keyboard. He has made a request, that also we can know. And how many resources are currently free in the system, that is the availability or not. So with this three information, we are able to find out whether at current stage your deadlock is there or not. Then similar to the banker's algorithm deadlock avoidance, here also there are two types. One is single instance resource and another one is multiple instance resource. Yes. So for the single instance resource, we have to use a algorithm or the graph called as wait for graph. Wait for graph. And for the multiple instance resources, we have related to the banker's algorithm. Related to banker's algorithm. Yes. So what you need? One, you need a wait for graph if your resources are one instance only. If your resources has multiple instance, similar to the banker's algorithm, we will go for this. So first we'll go for what is a wait for graph. Can you anybody tell me what is a resource allocation graph, RAG graph? क्या क्या था? B में क्या था? B में very nice. Processes.
Resources.
Yes, tell me. हाँ, resources. Thank you.
एजेस में से 3 टाइप का एजेस.
हाँ, adjustment में 3 टाइप का था. क्या था?
Claim, request, assign.
Very nice. Claim, request and assign. Everybody remember this? Claim क्या है? Request क्या है? बोलिए. कोई यहाँ पर offline student? No. You both. You don't. Yes, please come. Claim क्या है? Request क्या है? बोल पाओगे? What is the claim in the banker's algorithm? Initial claim क्या है? Maximum resources. At the very beginning आप hacker को पूछते हो कितना आपको resources चाहिए? Means that many resources later the hacker can claim. Yes or no? But at a time, are you providing all the resources or time to time? Time to time, depending upon what the hacker has made a request. So you have a 10 rupees claim, means 10 rupees आपको sanction हुआ था. अभी आप 2 रुपया मांग रहे हो. So the officer may give you the 2 rupees, may not also. If we give you the 2 rupees, that become assigned. When you are making a request for 2 rupees, that is a request. And initially 10 rupees is become the claim or not. Once the 2 rupees gets allocated to you, what is the new claim? 8. Yes or no? So the claim means in the future what is going to make a request. Request means which has already made it, but not get it. Assign means already got it. But what this WFG graph says that, wait for graph, the wait for graph says that your vertices only consist of processes. There is no resources. And your E are a one type. What is this type here? The type is saying there is an edge exist if the PI is making a request for RK and RK is currently assigned to PJ, then there is a edge from PI to PJ. Understood what he's saying? Very simple. What he's saying? If a process PI made a request for RK resource and currently that resource has been allocated to whom? To PJ, means PI is depending upon PJ. And in your WFG graph, that should be present. सबको समझ में आया? What is the WFG graph? Vertices? Vertices are only processes. There is no resource. And what are the edges? Only one type of edges. That edges says that there is a edges exist from PI to PJ provided there is a request from PI to RK and from RK to PJ, then the edge gets exist. Okay. Now how to generate this WFG graph? So the WFG graph has to be generated from RAG. So let's take, I'll draw one RAG graph. P1, P2, P3, P4 and P5. Very easy one. Please just concentrate. You can easily quickly tell. Then this is a R1, this is R2, this is R3, and this is R4, and this has become R5. Okay, these are the resources. Then what this resource allocation graph says that you draw this graph. So what I draw, how I draw this, I draw this, I draw this. Why I am doing like this, you please guess. Draw this and I draw this one. Then I make this one, then I make this one, then I make this one, then I make this, then I make this. This is this one. This is also this one. Sorry, this one. Then this will be make like this. This will be make like this. This will be made like this. And this P5, P6 also making to this. 1 minute. Huh? P6 also making to this. Quickly we'll do it. Not a big one. This is okay. Let's see this much. Yes. Now this is a little less. Not an issue. This is also make a request. Yes. Now you tell me whether this graph is a correct graph or not. RAG graph. How can you identify? बहुत easy है. एक बार सुन लीजिए और कुछ नहीं. This RAG graph is a correct graph or not? How can you identify whether it is a correct graph or not? How many resources are present here? 5. Each resource, how many instance? One instance. Each resource are mutually exclusive or not? Yes. If it is a mutually exclusive, every resource should be given to one person or more than one. Just verify this. Each resource should be given to one person or not. Then your verification is done or not. Given means what? R2 किसको दिया गया है बोलिए? P2 को. Other are incoming edges. One is only outgoing edges. Means if every resource has only one outgoing edges, means this resource allocation graph is correct or not. Are you getting my point? Because outgoing edges means somebody has taken it. Since my each resource has only one instance and everything is mutually exclusive, one resource cannot be used by more than one person at a time. Means one outgoing edge. So this has one outgoing edge. This has one outgoing edge. This R1 has one outgoing edge. This R3 has one outgoing edge. And this R4, check कीजिए, R4 has one outgoing. So, समझ में आ गया? Yes. Then from this graph, we have to generate what? WFG graph. So WFG graph कैसे बनाएंगे वो बोला था? वो बोला था कि if there is a PI to RK, RK to PJ, there is a P1 to PJ. And what are the vertices present in WFG graph? Quickly tell me. What are the vertices present in the WFG graph? Only processes. How many processes we have? 6. First you draw that 6. I'm little reducing. First you draw this 6. So this is P1. Then we'll do it. Then P2. Then it is P4. Okay. Then it is P5. Then it is P3 and P6. हो गया हमारा? Yes. Now start with P1. P1 से कहां ऐड जाएगा? कोई बोल पाओगे? What is the rule says? P1 to some R and R to somebody. So कहां पर गया देखिए? P1 to R5, P2. R5 to P2. Means P1 to P2 or not? Correct हुआ कि नहीं? P2. Yes. Any other? P1 to? P1 to R2. P5 sir. एक खत्म हो गया. इसका खत्म हो गया. P1 to R2, R2 to P2. So same. Already is there. So this is also what? Very nice. P1 to R4, somebody told R4 to P5, means P1 to P5 or not? समझ में आ गया? अभी आप खुद कीजिए, यहाँ मत देखिए. You do it in your own. हाँ? आप इस डायग्राम को देखकर ड्रॉ कर दीजिए और मुझे पूछना नहीं चाहिए. Please practice it. हाँ? एक बार कर लोगे तो नेक्स्ट नहीं आएगा. Very easy. This one. Then P2 से R1. R1 से P3. मैं अगर रॉन्ग करता हूं मुझे बोलोगे. हाँ? R1 then P3. P3 to R5. P3 to P2. P3 to P2. Then P3 to R3. R3 to P6. P3 to P6. Then next one is coming. Nothing. So this is over. This is over. Then P4. P4 से R4, R1, R1 to P3, P4 to P3. Yes. Then here we go. this बन गया, so ये हो गया, then P5 से P5 से R3 से P6 P5 to P6 P5 to R1 and R1 to P3 P5 to P3 then it is comes as a P5 to P3 then P5 का भी खत्म हो गया, this P6 to R4 to P5 P6 to P5 P6 to P5 yes, P6 to P5 then P6 to R2 to P2 P6 to P2 P6 to P2. Is it this much? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Each one, why I am putting a tick, just see, when I am making a P6 now, how many outgoing, that many only maximum comes or not? So P6 से अगर देखेंगे, P6 से R4 गया है, R4 to P5 means P6 to P5. P6 से एक और एक outgoing है R2 to P2 means P6 to P2. This graph has made or not? Once this graph has made, the WFG graph has made, the rule says, if the WFG graph has a cycle, the deadlock exists. If no cycle, no deadlock exists. Finish?
So there is cycle.
But how can you find whether there is a cycle or not?
Cycle is there.
This looks very simple. That's why you are easily told. But we
It is
discuss how we can say that a graph has a cycle or not. कोई बोल पाओगे?
One incoming and one outgoing.
If a vertex has one incoming and one outgoing, then there is a provision of participating in the cycle. ऐसे ना, अगर कोई vertex को एक cycle बनाएंगे, suppose P1, P2, P3 एक cycle बनाएंगे. So how can you make a cycle? Every vertex has one incoming, at least one outgoing. Then only बनेगा, नहीं तो नहीं बन पाएगा. अभी बोलिए कौन यहाँ पर cycle नहीं बन पा रहा? आप अगर देखेंगे कौन सा नहीं बन पा रहा है? This P1 to P2 and P1 to P5, no use. Because here only outgoing, there is no incoming, it will never participate. What does it mean? He is depending upon P5 somehow, but somebody is not depending upon P1, so he cannot force anybody to do something. So इसको क्या करेंगे? मिटा देते हैं इसको. P5 to P6 थोड़ा देख लेते हैं तो, हाँ मैं भी गलत कर सकता हूँ. P5 to P6 है क्या?
Yes, sir.
P5 to how many? Two are there. P5 to P3 एक है and P5 to R1 होके P3 एक है. Only P3. एक है एक्स्ट्रा. थैंक यू. R3 तो एक है, ऑलरेडी है ना. P5 like this R3 से P6. हाँ R3 से P6 है. हाँ तो सही है. थैंक यू. नो प्रॉब्लम. मैं भी आदमी हूं ना, आपके जैसा रॉन्ग भी कर सकता हूँ. ऐसे मत सोचिए कि मुझे ही आता है. यस, सो ये हो गया. और कौन कौन सा होगा बोलिए? एनीबॉडी हैज ओनली इनकमिंग? नाउ P4. वेरी नाइस. P4 को मिटा देते हैं. Anybody? Now he has incoming, outgoing, that's all. Then what happens? Somehow P2, P3, P5, P6 are in deadlock and P1 and P4 not in deadlock. ठीक है नहीं? After you make this graph, किसमें connection नहीं है? P1, P4 के साथ कुछ connection ही नहीं है. Means it is somehow away from the deadlock. Yes, somehow away from the deadlock. But purely who are in the deadlock? P2, P3, P5, P6 are in deadlock. So that is the idea of the how to find a deadlock. समझ में आया सब लोग? रिसोर्स एलोकेशन ग्राफ लीजिए, उससे WFG बना दीजिए. From the WFG you find out the which are in the cycle. Once you find out which are in the cycle, then those will be in the deadlock, others are not. Yes, correct? Yes, this is about the WFG. And what is the next one? If it is a multiple instance हम लोग को आता है. क्या आता है? बोलते हैं. So what this multiple instance says, मैं बस लिख लेता हूं, आप बोलोगे सर मुझे आता है. P0, P1, P2, P3, P4 क्या क्या दिया गया है? अलोकेशन दिया गया है। और क्या दिया गया है? रिक्वेस्ट दिया गया है। और क्या दिया गया है? अवेलेबिलिटी दिया गया है। If I'm giving all this data, some algorithm हम लोग किए थे इसको नीड लेके,
बैंक
सब सीक्वेंस कैसे कैलकुलेट कर रहे थे? If any need is less than availability, then availability is equal to availability plus allocation. That's all. If all will be coming, then it is no deadlock. If you are not coming, then it is not in deadlock. One question है, एक कर लेते हैं, लाया हूं बुक से. So you can also bring some question next class if possible, discussion कर सकते हो. So एक दिया है, लिख लीजिए. 0 1 0 दिया है, ये दिया है 2 0 0. कितना टाइप का रिसोर्स है बोलिए तुरंत? टाइप का. वेरी नाइस. Then 2 0 3, then दिया है 2 1 1, then दिया है 0 2 2, then दिया है 0 1 0, then it's giving 2 0 2, then he is giving 0 0 1, then he is giving 2 0 0, then he is giving 4 0 2, then availability is giving that is availability is giving 0 1 0. Whether is there any deadlock or not? कैसे रूल है? मैं एल्गोरिथम फिर से नहीं बोलना चाहता हूं, क्यों टाइम वेस्ट करेंगे. याद है ना एल्गोरिथम? इसको अगर नीड लेते हैं कैसे कैलकुलेट, कौन सा पहले सेटिस्फाई होगा? Which one?
रिक्वेस्ट इज लेस देन अवेलेबल,
Is less than availability, है कि नहीं? कौन सा
वाला
one?
P0.
Which one will be first executed? P0. Then क्या ऐड होगा? 0 1 0. What
0
is
1 0
that is become
0 2 0.
है कि नहीं? 0 1 0 अवेलेबिलिटी था and it is become 0 1 0, then it is become 0 2 0. With 0 2 0 can anybody will be execute?
P2
Means
no
P2
sir.
has a free
sorry
become
नहीं होगा.
deadlock.
डेडलॉक
समझ पाए? एक रिसोर्स का हो गया, ए वाला समझ पाए कि नहीं? हर एक दिस रिक्वेस्ट इज लेस देन अवेलेबिलिटी एस, बिकॉज ऑफ दैट क्या किया? इस अलोकेशन को लाके यहां पर आ गए. लास्ट टाइम याद है ना, अवेलेबिलिटी प्लस इक्वल टू अलोकेशन कर रहे थे कि नहीं? सो दैट यू डिड इट. नाउ करंट अलोकेशन इज व्हाट? 0 2 0, बट इसका 2 0 2 चाहिए, इसका 0 0 1 चाहिए, इसका 2 0 0 चाहिए, इसका 4 0 2. सो it is who are in the deadlock then? P1, P2, P3, P4 are in deadlock. So it may not, they may ask you which process are currently in deadlock. Sometimes no process, sometimes few of the processes, and those processes you have to say that it is. लिख पाओगे कि नहीं? Yes. So खत्म हो गया deadlock detection. Then what is the last one?
मैक्स का कॉलम क्यों नहीं है? मतलब वो
मैक्स का कॉलम क्यों नहीं है? आंसर आप लोग दीजिए.
जरूरत नहीं है क्योंकि उसमें हम लोग को रियल टाइम मालूम नहीं होगा.
हाँ, आप बोलिए, आप लोग मैक्स का कॉलम यहाँ पर क्यों नहीं है? पहले से ही बोला था स्टार्टिंग से.
तो मतलब ये वाला
आप बोल दिए दीपांकर, आप बोल दिए. मैं यहाँ से पूछ रहा हूँ, बोलिए, ट्राई कीजिए. अरे मैक्स का कॉलम क्यों नहीं है? देखिए, आपका अवॉइडेंस रिकवरी not exactly to be done at every scenario. Why? I told. Can you know whether max will be at the very beginning known to everybody? May not. I told no. If a process demand how many resources at the very beginning, आप अगर पूछोगे कोई प्रोसेस बता पाएगा? आप जो प्रोग्राम रन कर रहे हो, एक सी प्रोग्राम, कैन यू टेल मी हाउ मच मेमोरी यू नीड? व्हाई नॉट? मैं बोलूंगा हाँ सर 5 वेरिएबल है, 5 वेरिएबल का 4 बाइट होगा तो 20 बाइट. मैं बोल दिया. आप कैसे बोल रहे हो? ना, तुरंत आपका आंसर रिवर्ट आंसर. आप एक सी प्रोग्राम रन कर रहे हो, मैं बोल रहा हूं कि आप मैक्स नहीं बोल पाओगे, उसको कितना मेमोरी चाहिए. क्यों नहीं?
सर कोड पार्ट का मेमोरी
नहीं मत बोलिए. आप लोग
सर फंक्शन होगा तो वो कुछ अलग एक्टिवेशन रिकॉर्ड लेगा तो वो अलग अलग मेमोरी
के अंदर कोई प्रिंटफ कॉल कर रहा है. आप कभी देखे हो प्रिंटफ के अंदर क्या लिखा गया है? And printf must require some memory or not? वो बात भी छोड़ दीजिए. सर बोलेंगे सर printf वगैरह कुछ नहीं है. Then you can immediately, सर एक malloc यूज किया हूं, malloc के अंदर एक साइज दिया हूं a, and a को scanf से रिसीव किया हूं. Can you at the very beginning tell that what the user is giving the value for A? No. If the user will give 5, 20 bytes he needs. If user will get 10, 40 bytes he needs. Means at the very beginning, I don't know. But deadlock detection क्या बोलता है? अभी सिस्टम को देखिए डेडलॉक है कि नहीं, मतलब अभी फाइटिंग चल रहा है. You have to identify it. During the fighting, when it is continuing the fighting, you see what? How many person? किसके पास क्या weapons है? And को क्या फ्री पड़ा हुआ है? बाहर क्या पड़ा हुआ है? वो भी देख रहे हो? And किसके पास क्या weapon लेके fighting कर रहे हैं? And कौन-कौन fighting कर रहे हैं? But do you know that what they have demanded earlier? वो किसी को पता नहीं है उस टाइम पे. कोई आके नहीं पूछेगा, ए आप लोग फाइटिंग कर रहे हो, कितना आपको पहले चाहिए था? कोई नहीं पूछेगा, ए फाइटिंग कर रहे हो इससे. Okay, so that's why what they are basically saying that in case of deadlock avoidance, you are taking a assumption kind of things. I need this much max. That's why you are finding a need. The need may not be always accurate, but in this case, request is purely accurate. Yes or no? अभी वो मांगा है, एक मुझे weapon दीजिए fighting वाला. Means this is the request. And अभी वो एक gun use कर रहा है. That is a weapon he is allocated. He is asking for one more weapon. He is requesting. बाहर पड़ा हुआ है और एक weapon that is available. So with all the realistic data, you are saying that whether my system is in deadlock or not. But in the previous case, you are taking an assumption of a max. It may not known at the very beginning. So that's the reason here there is no max. Okay? Understood?
सर
हाँ.
सर यहाँ पे allocation plus request करने से तो max आ जाएगा.
No, may not be. May not be. Can you? He is saying allocation plus request करने पर max आ जाएगा.
Allocation plus available.
अभी जो allocation हुआ है, that you know. Whatever the currently it is allocated, that you know. Later the same process may need further few things. This is the current allocation, current request. It does not mean that the total of allocation plus request is the total need. May not. Are you getting? Whoever is asked, the allocation plus request may not be need. The reason you are saying currently this many resources allocated. I made a this much request. You cannot say that the total request need by you is allocation plus request. You may further need some more, which you have not mentioned it here. Okay? Accepted or not?
सर मतलब नहीं होगा max.
Next नहीं होगा. फिर से बोल रहा हूँ. आप satisfy नहीं हो तो फिर से बोल रहा हूँ. मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि you are now running the third line of the program. एक वेरिएबल लिया गया है कि int a. आपको प्रोसेस अभी allocate किया दे 4 बाइट का. ठीक है ना? Then next you read the int character C, character D. Then D के लिए 1 बाइट आपको चाहिए. Then it is a request. Then it is not it allocated. A allocated, A अभी तक allocate नहीं हुआ है. Can you say that your whole program needs only these two, or there is a further request may be made?
Sir, further request may be made.
If further request will be made, can you say that your total max will be this much, or it has to be later included these things also?
Sir, latter also included.
Then max is not. Accepted? Now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, fine. So next one. So next, the last one, little theoretical, don't feel bored. That is called a deadlock recovery.
सर
हाँ, बोलिए. सुन रहा हूँ.
सर ये डेडलॉक डिटेक्शन रियल टाइम ओएस में यूज होता है अभी.
Real time OS में use.
और जो पहला 2 था वो
पहला 2 था actually you
Critical.
cannot do at every scenario those things
ओके
unless until you know the max properly. Okay.
ओके सर.
Okay. So deadlock recovery. So first answer for the deadlock. What is a deadlock recovery? Already the deadlock has occurred and you are recovering from that scenario. So what is the answer they are saying? The first answer for the deadlock recovery is that assume that there is no deadlock. Very nice answer. Assume that there is no deadlock. What does it mean? How he is answering like this? He is saying that this answer says that our system is so robust that there is no question of deadlock occur by the operating system. The operating systems has a design in such a manner that you cannot find a scenario a deadlock will occur unless until a user knowingly create a deadlock in his own program. Like when you are running the Java program, when you learn this third chapter, you can create your own deadlock. You can find that 3 processes are not further progressing. Means the user has created its own choice, but your operating system, when he's running the different programs, he never create any scenario where the deadlock is occur. That's why the answer says that assume that there is no deadlock. Let's that there is a deadlock. Then what to do? क्या करेंगे? अब बोलिए 4 आदमी फाइटिंग कर रहे हैं वेपन के साथ, 4 आदमी अभी डेडलॉक में हैं, आप
रिसोर्स ले लेंगे,
फाइटिंग बंद हो जाएगा।
रिसोर्स ले लेंगे,
चारों को
रिसोर्स ले लेंगे उनसे।
2 तरीका है, क्या कीजिए, उन लोग से जो वेपन सब छीन के ले जाइए, फाइटिंग नहीं कर पाएंगे, थोड़ा मारेगा तो उसका हाथ कटेगा। यस, एक है। और क्या कीजिएगा, जो जो फाइटिंग कर रहे हैं, whoever is making a fighting, kill him। 2 तरीका है कि नहीं? Yes, so that's why what he's saying, two things are there. He's saying one is resource preemption and another one is process termination. प्रोसेस टर्मिनेशन, प्रोसेस टर्मिनेशन में प्रोसेस को मार देंगे, रिसोर्स में वेपन को छीन के ले जाएंगे। सुनो, नाउ फर्स्ट स्टडी अबाउट द प्रोसेस टर्मिनेशन। कैसे मारेंगे उन लोगों को? द प्रोसेसेस दोज आर इन डेडलॉक, कैसे मारेंगे? कैसे आप मारोगे? अगर आप पुलिस ऑफिसर हो, 5 लोग फाइटिंग कर रहे हैं, व्हाट शुड बी द सिनेरियो एट डिफरेंट सिनेरियो, डिफरेंट थिंग्स? क्या करोगे? एक बार 5 आदमी को खत्म वहां पर। दैट इज वन वे। Means all the processes, those who are in deadlock, every processes you kill them. That is another one. एक को मारिए, एक को मारेंगे और 4 डर के भाग जाएंगे, डेडलॉक खत्म। एक को मारने के बाद और भी डरे नहीं, और एक को मार दीजिए। सो ऐसे एक को मारेंगे जब तक there will be no deadlock cycle exist. जब तक डेडलॉक साइकिल एग्जिस्ट होता है, एक करके डर के मारिए। That is one way. Another way, simply kill them. Then you can say, sir, why 2 ways? Which one is the benefit at which scenario? The first case, if you kill all the processes at a time, when you can do it? If very few processes are coming to the deadlock, in that scenario you may kill all the processes. But if a larger number of processes are in deadlock, killing all the processes, again you have to do their work repeatedly. Right? Suppose 5 processes are currently running. They have executed some 50 to 60% of their work. Okay. Suppose 5 C programs you are running, and they have already run for 2 to 3 hours. Yes. And another 1 or 2 hours is left to finish their work. And that scenario, the deadlock has occurred. And what you take a decision? You kill all the processes. If you kill all the processes, again you have to restart all the processes from the beginning to run these programs or not. Yes, means क्या waste हुआ? Your energy will be wasted, resource utilization will be wasted, everything or not. Because 2 घंटा, 3 घंटा, 5 मतलब 15 घंटा का काम कर चुके थे. Again you restart means 15 hours energy, this electric power has to be again consumed by your system or not. That is one way. But if only 2 processes, 3 processes are there, better to kill them. Why? Who will take a decision to whom to kill? That is a very difficult task as well. अगर 5% खड़े हुए हैं, पुलिस आया, एक को मारेगा पहले, वो पहले सोचेगा किसको मारने से सब लोग भाग जाएंगे. That decision is a difficult one. Yes or no? To which process is going to be killed now, that decision is very difficult. Why? Because in what basis you want to kill it? You can say, sir, the process which has consumed more memory, उसको kill कर दीजिए. Or the process has ideal for a long period of time, उसको kill कर दीजिए. Or the process has very low priority, उसको kill कर दीजिए. But there are many such possibilities, and taking a decision based on certain criteria at that scenario, it is not so easy. So that's why choosing one process and killing one by one is not so easy. But what is the benefit? The benefit is that if you kill one by one until deadlock cycle gets eliminated, then your resource utilization will be not wasted, because you are not killing everybody. एक एक करके मार रहे हो, so जो बच गए हैं वो तो कंटिन्यू करेंगे, so they will never restart once again. But in the first case, it will be easy not to take any decision, just to kill it. Okay, so that's why in process termination there are two techniques. One is kill, abort all the processes, abort or kill all the processes which are in deadlock, and second one is saying you kill one by one until the deadlock cycle gets eliminated. Deadlock cycle gets eliminated. Yes, this is the approach. Understood? This is just theoretically आपको लिखना है, इसमें कुछ नहीं है, एक दो मार्क पूछेगा तो आप लिख पाओ, समझ गया ना? The next one is process preemption. So in case of process preemption, there are three observations they are saying. The first observation, they are saying the selected victim. The second is rollback. Little theoretical, I told, please cooperate. And sorry, one more, rollback. And third one is starvation. Selected victim, and second one is rollback, 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 and starvation. What is the meaning of this? When you preempt a resource, yes, मतलब आप weapon को छीन के ले रहे हो, yes, when you do it, then here also you have to make a target. What is the target? From which process, which resources has to be removed? सोचिए इस तरफ एक weapon है, इस तरफ एक दोनों हाथ में दोनों पकड़ा है. Then first you have to choose from which person you have to preempt the resources and which resources has to be preempted. That you have to select it or not. Are you getting my point? A process may occupy n number of resources, but he is saying you preempt resources. He never says that preempt all the resources. You preempt few resources. Again, it is depending upon your decision that which resource from which process is going to be preempted. That is called as selected victim. Who will be the victim and which resource has to be selected from that victim. But this selected victim leads to a starvation. When? Guess what is the starvation here? What you have studied about the starvation in case of which topic? याद है?
Synchronization.
नहीं आप लोग नहीं.
Scheduling.
कहाँ पे पढ़े थे? Scheduling. Who is scheduling? Who is scheduling?
Priority based.
Priority based scheduling. What is the priority based scheduling? Say that if a low priority process initially comes, partially executed, after that high priority process is gradually coming, then what will happen? That low priority process has to wait for a long period of time unless until the high priority process finishes or not. He has to be starved or not. What technique you have used to avoid the starvation? Aging. Aging क्या बोलता है? Increase the priority of all the waiting processes, those who are currently present in the ready queue. So that what will happen? If a low priority process currently waiting to high priority process to be completed, but gradually its priority gets increasing as his waiting time gets increased. So after some time, he will say that मैं भी officer हूँ, आप भी officer. वो भी बोलेगा मैं खाऊंगा. Yes, वो होता है ना मिलिट्री में. एक बार जब तक ऑफिसर्स नहीं खा जाता, अदर आदमी नहीं आते. वो घूमता रहेगा, वो नॉर्मल जो स्टाफ्स होंगे वैसे ही बैठते रहेगा, देखते रहेगा. और वो भी एक है, आप जानते हो कि नहीं, once the guest put the plate, जो जितना खाया होगा वो भी ऐसा करता है. ऐसा ही सिचुएशन है that the here also there is a starvation. Then what is the starvation here? What is the starvation here? If the same processes will be targeted repeatedly, आपको ही टारगेट नहीं कर रहा हूं, हर दिन आपको ही क्वेश्चन पूछूंगा, आप बोलोगे सर क्या आप कर रहे हैं, इतना सारा स्टूडेंट है, हर एक दिन मुझे ही पूछ रहे हो. So same thing, if the victim will be always the same person, then it is going to the starvation or not, and that is not a right approach for the recovery. Yes or no? And what is a rollback? Very important one, rollback. एक एग्जांपल दे रहा हूं, आप बोल दोगे. सपोज आप एटीएम कार्ड डाल दिए, पैसा भी amount you can type it, and after typing he says the transaction over. Nowadays also you can see After transaction over, he will say that please remove your card. Then cash will be out. He's saying or not? Nowadays change style. Yes. Suppose you remove your card, transaction has updated. Then पैसा का जो है ना शटर open नहीं हुआ. Then do you think that you will be the loser? Never know. But in the server it has updated. Your amount 10 rupees or 100 rupees what you have typed, that is deducted from your 1000 rupees. So 900 हो रहा है. Sir मेरा पैसा कट हो गया, पैसा भी नहीं निकला. So what to do? When you go back to the bank manager, the bank manager has to be rolled back up to a certain stage. क्या करेगा certain stage? Up to last state where you executed. What is the up to last stage? Because you have taken the money from ATM many times. Do you think that your bank manager will be rolled back up to very beginning or up to only last transaction?
Last transaction.
Yes or no? Then what will happen? If partially few things gets executed and deadlock gets occurred and you have preempt that resources, then your execution has to be rolled back to a certain state from where the proper execution should be restarted. Yes or no? That you are doing in the transaction. In your DBMS last chapter, there is a transaction chapter is there. There you can see what exactly the rollback. If 2-3 transaction has already done, and if any scenario comes where you have to stop this, but partially few things has gets updated, but you have to revert back. So how you can make a revert back? You have to. So that's why he is saying during the resource preemption, 3 things: selected victim. क्या बोलता है? From which process, which resource has to be done. This selected victim leads to a starvation. When? If the victim will be always the same process. Third thing, if already few part of the program gets executed and your resource gets preempted, so whatever the work he has already done, that has to be revert back to the certain state from where your execution can be done in a proper manner. Okay, समझ में है? So this is called as a recovery. याद आ गया? अभी थोड़ा डिस्कस कर लेते हैं. शुरू कीजिए. डेडलॉक का कंडीशन. 1 मिनट. हाँ, पूछ सकते हो इसका. प्लीज आस्क.
सर ये सेलेक्टेड विक्टिम क्या है वो समझ नहीं आया अभी तक. वो
सेलेक्टेड विक्टिम समझ नहीं आया. Suppose n processes are currently running in the system. Out of the m processes are present in deadlock. And resource preemption is saying that you have to take the resources out from the processes. Then which resource you have to make it out from which processes? That you have to take a decision or not?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting?
Yes, sir.
That is called as victim. मतलब किसको अभी आप क्या हिंदी में बोलते हैं पता नहीं है. You have to target which person from where you have to take out the resources. कुछ बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में उसको मोरा क्या कुछ बनाते हैं ना हिंदी में कुछ बोलते हैं मतलब एक ही को उसको ही टारगेट अभी किए उससे ही आप पैसा लूट लोगे.
यस सर, यस सर.
क्या बोलते हैं?
बलि का बकरा.
क्या?
बलि का बकरा.
बलि का बकरा. वो नहीं है, वो नहीं है. Okay, so this is called as this. So once again, recall the everything. Deadlock conditions. Mutual exclusion, hold and wait, no preemption, circular wait. How to detect this deadlock? पहले पढ़े थे, पहले जो पढ़े थे रिसोर्स एलोकेशन ग्राफ से. कैसे मिलता है रिसोर्स एलोकेशन ग्राफ में? If there is a cycle exists, there is a chances of deadlock, maybe deadlock. If no cycle, no deadlock. Once a deadlock will be occurred, you have to handle it. How many cases of handling? Prevention, avoidance, detection, recovery. Prevention में कैसे आप prevent करोगे? Through which the deadlock has occurred, one of these things has to be prevented. Out of which things your deadlock has occurred? No preemption, hold and wait, circular wait, mutual exclusion. If any one of the condition you prevent it, then there is no deadlock. So that's why you have studied each process one. Then you come for, in case of prevention, at the very beginning you take a step by which it may not start also. But what the deadlock avoidance says that you already run the program dynamically at the runtime, you want to avoid the deadlock scenario. So for that, you go for the single instance, multiple instance. सिंगल इंस्टेंस में पढ़े रिसोर्स एलोकेशन ग्राफ where the claim aids, request aids, assign aids are used. Then you studied the Mancos algorithm. Then you studied the deadlock detection. Deadlock detection में two तरीका पढ़े. One is wait for graph, another one is Mancos related algorithm. Wait for graph single instance, वो है multiple instance. Then you go for this deadlock recovery. ये दोनों पढ़े. Where process preemption, process termination, resource preemption. Okay, that's it. So now we'll start the time okay.
Sir, if the kernel process gets deadlocked, then what we have to follow? That deadlock recovery.
Question is, if the kernel process is in deadlock, what you have to follow? Kernel processes. Kernel processes means the processes related directly to the operating system. Kernel कौन सा है? Kernel में क्या क्या चीज आता है? पढ़े थे? Memory management, IO management, process management, all these things are under the OS or not. If any one of the process gets terminated or deadlocked, then what is going to happen? That most of the scenario, the whole OS, somebody has told, the whole OS has to be stopped. Because that process may be related to many things which will get affected. So in that scenario, better to start the OS once.
Sir, सर ऐसा एक बार हुआ था वो इंस्टॉलेशन के टाइम में.
ओ इंस्टॉलेशन के टाइम पे. ओके कौन सा ओएस?
सर वो आर्च लिनक्स. ओके
फाइन. ओके देन देवांजन आज नहीं हो पाया. यू कैन सेंड मी द क्वेश्चन बिकॉज़ टाइम हो गया. ऑफलाइन क्लासेस.
ओके सर.
आप मुझे भेज दीजिए, सबको भी भेजिए so that everybody can see it also.
ओके सर.
हाँ. That is also. Anybody doubt is there? Questions you should send it to the.
डेडलॉक प्रिवेंशन का 1 मार्क का क्वेश्चन था. आप एक बार जस्ट चैट बॉक्स इनेबल करेंगे. मतलब वो डेडलॉक प्रिवेंशन का ही था वो.
डेडलॉक प्रिवेंशन का चैट बॉक्स. ओके
हां बस इनेबल कर दीजिए.
देख सकते हैं. 1 मिनट.
ओके.
Anybody please just write in a paper all the attendance. Just calculate 3, 3, 6. 6 for 10, just calculate it. 10 for 14, 14 for 18, 18 for 22. 22 students. Please write. क्या नहीं हुआ? क्या अपडेट नहीं हुआ? Hey, you write it. Attendance, no? वो सब कर देंगे. आप बस पढ़ोगे तो सब कुछ मेरा हो गया और कुछ नहीं चाहिए.